Something is seriously wrong with the motorcycle market, and if you've been paying attention, the signs are everywhere. Motorcycle dealerships are struggling like never before. Inventory is piling up on showroom floors, financing is becoming a nightmare, and repossessions are reaching levels we haven't seen in years. Yet the mainstream media isn't talking about it. Across the country, dealers are slashing prices just to keep their businesses alive. The market is overflowing with overpriced motorcycles that nobody can afford anymore. Just a few years ago, buyers could walk into a dealership, finance a bike with a low-interest loan, and ride away with a manageable payment. Now, that's a distant memory. The financial landscape has shifted dramatically, and the motorcycle market is screaming that people are broke. There are 5 major factors driving the motorcycle market collapse, and together, they are creating the biggest financial crisis in the industry in decades. Number 1, motorcycle prices have skyrocketed, and buyers are walking away. Over the past 5 years, motorcycle prices have jumped 30 to 40%, pushing even entry-level models out of reach for the average rider. A brand new Harley-Davidson Street Glide that cost $19,000 in 2019 now sells for well over $25,000. Even smaller bikes like the Honda Rebel 500 or the Yamaha MT-07 have seen price hikes of several $1,000s. Dealerships blame supply chain issues, inflation, and rising manufacturing costs. But the truth is simple: manufacturers and dealers got greedy. They saw demand spike in 2020 and jacked up the prices, assuming people would keep paying. But now, as the economy crashes and people tighten their budgets, buyers are no longer willing to overpay for motorcycles. Adding to the problem, many people bought motorcycles on impulse during the pandemic, when interest rates were low and people had extra disposable income from stimulus checks. Now, those same buyers are realizing that motorcycles are expensive to maintain, and they are desperately trying to sell them. But the market is flooded, and values are plummeting. Number 2, interest rates are crushing buyers. Financing is nearly impossible. The days of cheap financing are gone, and it's crushing motorcycle sales. Over the past decade, banks and lenders made it easy to finance motorcycles, leading to record high sales. But now, with interest rates surging, financing a motorcycle has become nearly impossible for the average buyer. For many, even if they qualify for a loan, the payments are simply too high to justify. A new $20,000 motorcycle at 12% interest over 6 years results in monthly payments of nearly $400. And that's before factoring in insurance, maintenance, fuel, and other expenses. It's no surprise that buyers are walking away from dealerships and choosing to keep their old bikes instead. Lenders are also tightening their requirements, meaning fewer buyers are getting approved for loans. This has led to a huge drop in motorcycle sales, as many potential buyers are being denied financing altogether. Number 3, inflation is destroying household budgets. Motorcycles are now a luxury. For most people, motorcycles have never been a necessity. They're a luxury, a secondary vehicle, or a weekend toy. Unlike a car, which is often an essential part of daily life, motorcycles are usually bought for enjoyment, commuting alternatives, or passion. But now, with inflation hitting hard across every aspect of daily life, fewer and fewer people can justify spending money on a motorcycle. Over the past few years, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Rent, groceries, gas, healthcare, and utilities have all seen massive price increases, squeezing household budgets to their breaking point. The latest data suggests that nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they're barely making ends meet. For these people, buying or financing a motorcycle isn't even an option anymore. It's the first thing they cut from their budget when times get tough. The financial strain is even more apparent when you look at the savings and emergency funds. The average American doesn't even have $500 in savings for an emergency, which means that unexpected expenses, a medical bill, car repair, or job loss can completely derail their finances. In this environment, dropping thousands of dollars on a motorcycle or taking on another monthly loan payment is out of the question. Even for those who already own motorcycles, the cost of keeping them on the road is getting out of control. Motorcycle insurance rates have skyrocketed, with some states seeing premiums double or even triple in the past 5 years. Maintenance and repair costs have also climbed as inflation impacts parts, labor, and servicing fees. For many riders, it's becoming too expensive to justify keeping a motorcycle at all. This financial pressure is leading to a major shift in the market. Fewer people are buying new motorcycles, and many are looking to sell their bikes just to free up extra cash. Demand is disappearing, and prices are falling, but for most Americans, even a discount isn't enough to make motorcycle ownership affordable again. The reality is simple. Motorcycles have now become a luxury that fewer people can afford. Number 4. Repossessions are skyrocketing, and the market is flooded with used bikes. With so many people falling behind on payments, lenders can't keep up with the wave of repossessed motorcycles. Repos are hitting auction lots at record levels, yet many of them are sitting unsold because buyers can't qualify for loans or don't want to take on more debt. In previous years, repossessed bikes would sell quickly at auctions because dealers would scoop them up and resell them at a profit. But now, dealers are holding back because they're already sitting on too much unsold inventory. Lenders, desperate to recover their losses, are slashing auction prices, but even then many bikes are still failing to find buyers. Another major problem is that many of these repossessed motorcycles are in terrible condition. When people know they're about to lose their bike, they stop taking care of it. Repossessed motorcycles often have missing parts, worn out tires, and overdue maintenance, making them a risky buy even at discounted prices. Number 5. Dealerships are struggling, and many are on the brink of closing. Motorcycle dealerships across the country are drowning in unsold inventory. Just a year ago, many models were selling out before they even arrived at showrooms. Now, dealers can't move bikes fast enough, and their lots are overflowing. Rows of brand new motorcycles are sitting untouched, forcing dealers to slash prices, offer incentives, or even turn away new inventory from manufacturers. The problem is clear. Demand has collapsed, and dealerships are feeling the pressure. They rely on floor plan financing, meaning every unsold bike is costing them money. With interest rates rising and buyers struggling to afford motorcycles, many dealerships are watching their profit margins disappear. This financial strain is pushing some dealers to lay off staff, while others are closing their doors entirely. Huge inventory backlogs are piling up. Dealerships typically sell bikes on a steady rotation, but right now, they're sitting on months' worth of unsold inventory. This isn't just a short-term slump. Manufacturers overproduce, expecting demand to continue rising, but buyers have backed off. Now showrooms, warehouses, and backlots are packed with motorcycles that aren't selling, and many dealerships are refusing new shipments to avoid further losses. Declining trade-in values are hurting consumers. Another major issue? Used bike values are plummeting. Buyers who financed motorcycles at inflated prices in 2020 and 2022 are now trying to trade them in, only to find their bikes worth far less than what they still owe. Many riders are underwater on their loans, making it nearly impossible to trade up. As a result, fewer trade-ins mean fewer used bikes for dealerships to resell, cutting off a key source of profits. Longer loan terms are a financial time bomb. To compensate for high prices and interest rates, many dealerships are pushing buyers into 72 or even 84-month loans. While this makes monthly payments seem more affordable, it's a financial disaster in the making. Stretching out loans this long means that buyers will stay upside down on their motorcycles for years, trapping them in negative equity. If they need to sell or trade in, they're stuck, a situation that will only get worse as values continue to drop. Some dealerships are already closing their doors. For many smaller dealerships, this downturn is too much to handle. Without steady sales, operating costs become impossible to cover, leading to closures across the country. Even larger franchise dealers aren't immune. Some are cutting staff, reducing inventory, and shutting down underperforming locations to stay afloat. Manufacturers are starting to pull back production in response. Harley-Davidson, Yamaha, and others are scaling down output to avoid flooding the market with even more unsold bikes. If demand doesn't rebound soon, more dealers will be forced out of business, leading to fewer service centers, parts availability issues, and disruptions across the industry. The ripple effect on the motorcycle industry. When dealerships struggle, the entire motorcycle industry suffers. Manufacturers lose revenue, lenders see higher default rates, and the used bike market becomes more volatile. Accessories, service, and gear sales also decline, hitting businesses that rely on riders spending money. For consumers, this can mean fewer dealership options, higher service costs, and difficulty finding parts as more locations shut down. If the crash continues, expect more brands to scale back production, delay new models, and focus on survival rather than growth. So what does this mean for you? If you're looking to buy a motorcycle in 2025, this crash is great news. Dealers are desperate to move inventory, which means massive discounts on new and used motorcycles, financing incentives, special rate offers, and better loan terms if you shop around, and stronger negotiating power. Dealers need to sell bikes. However, if you already own a motorcycle and are making payments, be careful. Your bike's value is dropping fast, and if you owe more than it's worth, you could be trapped in negative equity. The motorcycle market is in freefall, and there's no end in sight. Prices are dropping, yet buyers are disappearing, leaving dealerships drowning in unsold inventory. Financing has become a nightmare, with soaring interest rates and stricter loan approvals preventing potential riders from making purchases. At the same time, repossessions are flooding the market as more and more people fall behind on payments and lose their bikes to the bank. This isn't just a seasonal dip or a minor slowdown. It's the biggest motorcycle market collapse in decades. The industry is breaking down at every level. Buyers can't afford bikes, dealers can't move inventory, lenders are tightening credit, and manufacturers are scaling back production to avoid massive losses. The cracks in the system are growing bigger every day, yet most people still aren't paying attention. If you're a smart buyer, now is the time to stay patient. Prices will continue to fall, and as dealerships become more desperate, the discounts will get even bigger. Waiting just a few months could save you thousands of dollars. But if you're looking to sell a motorcycle, time is running out. Used bike values are plummeting, and every month you wait, your motorcycle is worth less than before. The motorcycle market is screaming that everyone is broke, that the era of easy money, cheap financing, and endless demand is over. The question is, are you listening?